Welcome back to Adventure Repeats. Glad to see you here. So today with Gears and Gadgets, we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to make a 12-volt power source for the bed of our truck, which, because this bed of this truck has a 12-volt power plug right back here for trailers, things like that, we're going to take a regular trailer plug adapter and made it with a USB charger for power source, things like that. You could just use a normal USB. This is the regular cigarette lighter charger plug. But that's what we're going to use to run different things, whether it be phone chargers, refrigerators, coolers, things like that. Anything that plugs in a 12-volt power source to be used in the bed of the truck, that's what we're going to do. Now with this, the reason I'm doing it for this is because these 12-volt power sources are connected directly into the truck battery. So it's powered up all the time. So it would have power all the time versus my inverted plug that's only powered up when the truck is running. So that makes it a lot easier to have a power source that's all the time, especially if I'm tailgating, traveling, things like that. I shut the truck off. I don't have to worry about things staying powered up. It's just good to go. So the only downside is you just got to manage your battery voltage so you don't kill the truck batteries, but I know what I'm looking for, so it's not a big deal for me. So we're going to make it happen. Just some random stuff that you got laying around the house is how I do it. First thing I'm going to do is start with opening up this trailer plug. Back that off so we can get the wire in there. And then we got the little plug in right there. Just taking back that screw off. You can see how it's coming out right there. It allows to push out the end socket and get this out from here. So on most of these, you'll always find they're actually labeled what does what. So you got LT for left turn, trailer marker, auxiliary power, right turn, electric brakes, ground, and then that's the backup. So you can see all that right there. So it's all labeled. It makes life a lot easier. So my aux for auxiliary power, gonna open up that terminal. Sometimes they're a little tricky. Open up that terminal so the wire will go in there, and then find the ground for GD for ground right there. So those are the two terminals that we need right there. So it's pretty easy to work with. Now with that, I am using a fused wire so I can actually fuse this down so I don't have to worry about tripping the fuse that's in the truck itself and chasing that down. When I can just use a fuse right here because I know I need to run my cooler on a 10 amp fuse, so I can put a 10 amp fuse in here and I know the system is safe for me to go. I'm just using 12 gauge wire for this. So loop your wires through there. Then you just got to strip them back to make the terminal connection. So take that out. Strip them back. Prep them for that. Now from here you can always do different ways, but I'm going to put a little bit of rubber tube in there so when this is fed through there, that gives a little bit of a spacer so it actually doesn't crimp down on the wires because sometimes it'll just be loose. So that takes up some space with that. So I'm going to cut this a little short. This is just 5/16 rubber hose. Nothing too fancy. Just like that. So that'll be down the wire. Just like that. And aux is this one. Shove it in there and then tighten it back down. And I always do it upside down for the opposite side. And there we go. So now we got that in there. They're basically opposite sides. So it looks out pretty nice. So once we do that, we can make sure we get it keyed in there. So the full groove slot goes there. The shorter slot goes where the set screw is. pull the wires back through. Now that we got that, we can then reset this set screw. Just like that. Don't have to put a lot of pressure in there. It's just meant to keep this plug from pulling out the end. So now this, take that rubber hose, push in there like that. That takes up the space. So when I go to tighten this set screw down to put pressure on it, it doesn't allow it to pull the wires back out of the plug. That way, if you're pulling by the wires, you're not going to pull the wires out of the plug, cause a short, or cause other problems. It gives something to grab onto, just like that. So for the other side, we're going to do something very similar. I'm going to use a rubber hose as a spacer, because to go from this giant plug with heat shrink, it's not going to shrink all the way down to the wire size, so we're going to use that as a spacer with another smaller shrink tube just to shrink it down and neck it down in size. Cut another small piece. Feed that down the wire. Here. Strip the wires back. And then we got terminals. Blue terminals aren't enough, so you're going to use the yellows. Do you have to use heat shrink terminals? No. I just like to use them just to keep them sealed, and then it gives an extra way to grab onto the wire too so it doesn't pull out of it. But if you do a proper terminal crimp, you never have to worry about it actually falling out. So that's just a personal preference of mine. I always like to use them just because it's an extra little protection. Nice thing about that also is having these casings around there, so if the wire ever does pull, it doesn't come in contact with each other. Slide that over. This has got to go over too. So on the back side of this, there is a positive and negative, so you get that in the right order. If you do not, then bad things happen. So positive goes right there. Negative goes on just like that. So that's nice and easy. I'm going to slide this back over. And then slide up our rubber hose. Get that up there in place. It's always a little bit of a challenge when our wires are short, but here we go. I get so hot there, it's slipping right off, which is not a big deal. It's still sealed up. That clear is what you actually see with the glue inside the shrink tube. That seals it up and locks it in place, so it actually works out pretty easy. So everybody's different how much they want to seal it and trim it up and make it look fancy. That's just how I like to do it, because the more I can seal this up, the less moisture I have to worry about getting back in there, and this glues in there and holds it in place, so I don't have to worry about this pulling apart as well. So it really just holds it all in place. From there, we can leave it as is. You can use some convoluted tubing to tie up the wires too as well. It's really just a personal preference on how you like it aesthetically with how it ends up. But that's all there really is to it. Just gotta throw a fuse in there and it's good to go. So that's all it takes to make your own plug for your bed of your truck. So it's super easy. You can use any trailer plug that has a 12-volt power source. So that's all there is to it. I kept the fuse in there. I put some convoluted tubing in there just so as it bounces in the bed of the truck, if I'm driving, I don't have to worry about it rubbing through wires for long-term use. This is flexible. It's easy to work with. All your plugs are right there. You can easy to see. And if you don't want this cigarette style lighter outlet, you can just get USB ones. So if you want to just use it for charging phones, if you're tailgating, things like that, you can easily do that as well. So there's plenty of different options for this. So it's just a handy little gadget that I like to have, and it doesn't take much to do it other than just usually a few random things I have laying around the house anyway. So hopefully you can like the video, comment, tell us what you think, tell us what you want to hear about, and subscribe. We get a lot of great content coming, a lot of great content on the channel, so be sure to check it out. And remember to have a great adventure.